But managing your feelings is important. Expressing your feelings is important. Like the prophet, the companion, he said, I love that man, and the prophet said, go and tell him. Speak it. I love you. That will change what happens in his whole being. That's a release. So very often women tend to be, all cultures tend to tell women, look, you're beautiful, let be seen and not heard. And men tend to go on and on and on and on and on and on, like I'm doing. I don't want to do this, so I don't like talking, but men tend to go on and live in their head and talk about ideas and be very abstracted and disconnected from feeling. That's why I say men need to listen to their wives. That's, one of the biggest counsels I give. The Prophet said, those of you who are the best to your wives and your families. Listen to your wives and listen to your children. Just listen to them. Don't fix anything. Don't feel you have to go out and do anything. No, just listen. And like I said, back to this concept of grounding in sensation, listen and just be with what you feel. Try to discover what you feel. Most men don't even know what they feel because most of it's been shut down. The range of subtlety of feeling, like I said, is no less than the range of things we find in the creation. The range of subtlety of feelings. Men who work in men's group get angry and cry. And they say, I'm sensitive, I've developed the feminine part of my being because I can cry. I have no problem crying. So that's not a problem with me. I feel, I can cry. No, that's not what it's about. It's not about crying and getting angry. It's about living presence and experiencing life with all of its subtlety. And the range of it is enormous. So men tend to not feel, women tend to feel, and so that disconnect becomes dramatic. In most cases, what happens over and over and over is, the conflict comes because the man is not, he wants to understand logically. The woman feels like she's being neglected, like he doesn't pay any attention to her, like he doesn't listen to her. And if she says anything like that, he'll disprove her. But that's not true. I was here yesterday and and he'll have all these reasons and excuses that come from his brain as to why that's not true. So she's left with the feeling, oh, well, it's not true, then I must be really messed up. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Or, well, or she might say, well, he'll never understand. Or any kind of other endless permutations. Men are so subtle. I've been in situations where I've been called into a family. I had one group, a family that I was working with, father and two sons, and a woman severely depressed. Just so, oh, the poor woman. And all of them are saying, how do we help mom? How do I help my wife? They're all like, how do we make her better? She's so depressed. She's tried antidepressants. It doesn't work. How do we do it? Well, I tell you, all three of those men were depressed. And they had it all hidden underneath, and they were saying, I'm fine. It's not my problem. It's her. And she was buying it. She was like expressing the pain and the depression for these three men who were living this life of self-buoyance and denial, not facing that they were like not feeling in their lives. They couldn't face grievous and sorrowful things. It was too painful for them. And that's another aspect of it. Men are sensitive. So sensitive they can't begin to process the emotions that women are really, women know it good. They've done it lots. The women, some of you women know what I'm talking about, right? So, yeah, but screaming does not satisfy or fulfill what wants to happen. And it wants to be full, free, generous expression of feelings at all times. That's a goal we should have. Anger. Men, how many men have anger? You know, some of the most angry men I know, they speak like this. Hi, how are you? Oh, me angry? No, I'm always calm. Because, anger, the Prophet ﷺ said, control your anger. He said, didn't make it disappear. Feeling is something that happens, that flows from the life of the being. In all cases, in all instances, it wants to be in our speech. How are you? And when you say, how are you with your whole being, it's free and the flow is free. And what wants to naturally come from us is generosity, kindness, rahmah, right? Assistance. That's what wants to come. But if we hold it back and we hold it back, it gets turned inwards, then we're lying to ourselves. We're not being whole. So the free expression of the energy that would inform anger, the energy is it's a Jalali energy. You all understand what I mean by Jalal? Anybody know? Jalal and Jamal. Jalal is the majestic, powerful aspect of Allah, but it also, we see it in His creation. There's Jalal in His creation. And the Jamal is the sublime, the beautiful, the kind, the gentle, delicate, all of that. It's like these opposites. The Jalal is there in every one of us. But if we deny it, and only, then it's also then that energy that would be behind anger. Like, this is wrong. I will not stand for it. You know, what, that kind of energy. If that energy is not free to flow, even when you're saying something nice, here's the thing. Once I was in Morocco, and I was with these men from the desert, amazing men from the desert. They were Sufis that did this thing we did a lot, in another manner. I didn't know any Arabic, and I was new. I'd just gone there. The first day I spent time amongst these. They were like these guys from the desert were like gnarly, is the term. You know, like their skin was like tree bark. They'd been out in the desert, and we were sitting in a circle, we were having a meal, and this one guy looked at me and he was speaking Moroccan Arabic or Berber or something. He was going, he was like, you know, the stuff that was coming, like, whoa, I thought, what have I done? He was like looking at him and turning to his friend and saying, you know, he was saying all these things like, and I said, you know, what is he saying? And he's saying, you know, you have the face of an angel. You're like the sweetness of the fragrance of a rose that's come from. And he went on and on with this incredibly beautiful stuff he was saying. But this was the disposition with which he was dispensing it. And I thought, you know, it was a surprise to me. I learned something from that. So, yeah, so expression must be full and complete and with your whole being, is what I'm saying. And when it is full and complete with your whole being, really anger can be expressed, your displeasure with something does not have to be expressed with explosiveness. You know? And some people will hold the explosiveness forever, or some people, they'll just lose it and boom, it'll blow, right? So the free expression of it at all times means you address things appropriately at all times in relation to what they are, whether it's with tenderness or with firmness and, huh?